makeup to stay all day and I have a little bit more time and all that, I use a primer. I will always use a primer on any client, on any bride, model, actor, doesn't matter. I always use a primer. It's going to ensure that your makeup will last all day. It's also going to give you a really, really smooth canvas to start with. So my favorite face primer is by Smashbox. It's called Photo Finish. I think you can see that. I don't really know because I don't have my glasses on or contacts in, so I can't see what if it's getting sharp or not. But this is my favorite. The other one that I also really like is also by Smashbox. It's a bronzing tint. So it adds a little bit of color to your face, which for me, since my face always gets so pale, works really, really great. The nice thing about these is this is what I'll always put on a male actor, and then I'll just finish with Studio Fix, which is a powder from MAC, but it works as a foundation. It's heavy enough that it can cover some flaws and stuff without being a full face of foundation. So yes, always starting with that. So I have nothing on my face today besides the moisturizer that I put on this morning. And then the next thing I always do, especially for someone who's going to have their makeup on all day, like a bride, something like that, I use an eye primer. My favorite eyeshadow primer is by Urban Decay. It's called Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I think I knew that. Looks like it's in a little genie bottle. Okay, so that's done. That's just your basic prep of your face. And then I do what a lot of people do backward. I mean, a lot of people do this the other way. I do it backwards. I put on my foundation first. So right now I'm using a foundation by Lola. Comes in a little bottle like this. It's probably my favorite foundation, but it's hard to find. I have other favorite foundations, but it's just a very sheer foundation, and this is in Sand. Other foundations I like Face and Body by MAC. It's also very sheer. It's buildable, which is nice because you can get a heavier coverage if you need it. Which other ones do I like? I like one by Calvin Klein, which is, I think it's sitting over here. Comes in a thing like this. It's Infinite Matte. And I like that because it works really well on oilier skin because it does help to mattify it a little bit. Those are probably my favorites. But I use a lot of different kinds because it really depends on the skin type of the client. So always go around your nose. You've got capillaries there. Around the mouth, it gets red too. And a big one is on top of your eyes. Get your eyelids because that skin there is really, really thin. So we're going to do that. La la la. Okay, so that's done. The next step then I do is my concealer. Now I like to put my concealer on top of my foundation because I feel like the concealer kind of sticks a little bit better because it has something to stick to now that your face is primed and foundationed up and everything. And it also will prevent it for underneath your eyes from settling into those little creases because then you get the lines of concealer settled in your creases. And if you've already put on a primer and a foundation, a lot of those little creases are already filled. So that's kind of helpful. I like a few different concealers. I like this one by Sheer Cover. It's fantastic. It comes with two sides, so you can kind of use the lighter color. I usually the lighter color in the corner, go up over this little curve right there. It's very important because it's an under eye circle, not an under eye half circle. So you do that, and then I often take the darker color to kind of hit the outside and kind of drag it down. It's kind of from the corner of your nose up to your eye. So that way you can kind of blend it out. And you really should, if you're using your fingers, you really should be using your ring finger. It's your weakest finger. I'm really guilty of not always doing that, but you should. Do that to this side too. Up through here a little bit. Now other concealers I like, Laura Mercier makes a fabulous one called Secret Weapon. And it's a two-tone concealer pack too. So that's a good one. I do like cream-based concealers. That is a personal preference. A more liquidy one that I really like, I'm going to go ahead and get those red spots. And then any, I talk about this all the time, but I've got a kind of like a beauty mark on my nose that I hate because it looks like a pimple. But I always cover that up. You just want to get any spots that might be red. Anyway, other concealers that I like. I really like one. Where to go? I thought I got it out so I could show you. This one is fantastic. It's by MAC. Whoops. It's got a wand to it. It is called Select Moisture Cover. It has a silicone base, so it acts a lot like the properties of your skin. So it kind of meshes in really, really well and looks really natural. What I really like this for is if you need a lot of coverage on someone, yourself or someone else, depending on who you're doing makeup on, this can act as like foolproof, cover the entire face, which I have done before. If I either have someone who has a lot of red tone to their skin and you want to give them a flawless finish, someone with a lot of acne, stuff like that. It works really, really great, and it's just nice. It comes in a lot of colors, so that's good. So I use that a lot. I also really like foundation sticks by Bobbi Brown. They can work as a concealer. They can work as your foundation. It's what I use in the 3-minute makeup. That video is already up on YouTube and on my blog. But you can get it in the full size like this, or you can get it in the little mini size, and it comes, I think, in 9 colors, 1 through 9. I usually use 2 through 3, so, and there's half sizes, so lies comes in 20 colors, because there's like 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, yada yada. But the ones that I use are usually 2.5 and 3, sometimes 2, depending what time of year it is and how tan my skin is. So those are great, and the 8 and 9 are my favorites to use on darker skin tones, just because matching African American skin can be really tricky. And I feel like Bobbi Brown has the color down pat, so I use these most for that. Okay, so that's that. So that's your basic faces prepped. Now, you should always set everything with a powder. The reason for that being is if you use an eyeshadow or a powder blush or anything like that, any place where there's some oils to your skin, it will stick to, and it won't give you quite as flawless of a finish. So I like to kind of do a dusting powder over the whole thing before I move on to any next step. Now, MAC Studio Fix is my favorite powder foundation. It works really great if you need a lot of coverage. You can use this without any foundation underneath. It's really made to be a foundation, not just a powder. But if I need a lot of coverage, I'll even go on top of powder for that. MAC also makes a bunch of these. I think these are only available like in the pro stores. So if you have access to those stores, but they make really great setting powders. DuraBlend also makes a fantastic translucent setting powder that I use a lot. But if I want just a really sheer coverage, honest to God, my favorite, by Rimmel. They're like $4. They don't have nearly as many color options, which is going to be the downside to this. So it might not find the color, but it's extremely sheer. It's called Stay Matte. I use 004, but it's just, it comes in a fairly large pan, so you get quite a bit there, but it, this is just a little brush. It's what I keep in my makeup kit for myself. But you can just kind of dust it on top of the whole thing. It's not going to change your coloring at all because it is pretty sheer and translucent. They do make a translucent one. But it really just helps to set everything, I feel, without adding anything. Because that's the one thing I hate when I'm doing makeup, when I'm adding another whole layer of crap to the skin that just makes it feel heavy and mask-like. And this is so light, which is really, really nice. So it is what I use like on myself every day. Go ahead and powder your lids. It's what I use on myself every day. For set, I usually use one of the MAC or DuraBlend setting powders, like if I'm on a movie set or a commercial set or whatever, just because you do want to make sure that it's got that like crazy oomph staying power. So, ta-da! So that is a very, very basic get your face prepped and primed and ready to go. And it's what I do pretty much before every video tutorial, but I don't film that every time because there's not enough time on YouTube for that. So that's just the basics, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.